Welcome back to my channel, everyone. I'm Moreni the artist, if you don't know, and today I'm going to be walking you through my painting process for the Abundance painting that I recently completed. In this clip, mainly what is happening is blocking in. I've already done the canvas priming. I reclaimed this canvas. I literally found it somewhere, or it was given away to me. I got quite lucky with this nice big canvas and decided to use black in the background instead of white. I was mixing it up, and I found as I was painting it really made the colours pop. For the first hand that I did, it was more of a very loose primary colour situation, and for the second hand as well. By the time I got to the third hand, where the salad leaves are here, I started to paint a little bit more because I got a bit carried away, honestly. But then I just thought, okay, by the fourth hand, let me just stick to primary colours. And the reason that I do this is just to literally get paint on the canvas, because one thing that I find can happen before I even start painting is potentially overthinking the details before I've even begun. So what I like to do is just put some colours down, look at what the colours and tones are actually doing, especially in relation to the canvas and the background colour, so that as I go along, I can really start to figure things out visually. This part of the process probably took me about an hour per hand if I were to estimate, blocking in the fruit and blocking in the hand. Potentially an hour and a half to 2 hours if it was a lot of detail. All of the different tones and effects going on require me to really pay attention, so the amount of blocking in I do for each image can really vary. So that's what I'm doing here, and overall this whole canvas, this whole process took me a good few weeks spread out across a few months, because I began in the autumn time and then I continued when spring and summer really started to hit due to the longer days and light changes. I love a time lapse because it shows me what kind of changes I'm experiencing in my environment as I'm going along, and so my eye is adjusting all the time, so I have to be paying attention all the time. So at this point now, you can see more of the image coming together. I'm still blocking in, but now I'm really filling in details, and I'm looking at flesh tones. I'm looking at pinks and more yellows, warmer tones to really bring the lively element to the image. So I'm taking a breather here to show you, and now we're carrying on. So this is the point at which I'm bringing in human tones, pinks, reds, yellows, orange, all of the colours that are really going to bring the humanity to the photo. Because at this point it's still a little bit cold, a little bit flat, but you're seeing the idea. And honestly, I'm very meticulous with the way that I paint. I love to start off very loosey-goosey and just be playful with how I'm putting paint down at the start. That's the point at which I allow myself to free up, and then I double down and I really hone in. And oftentimes this can result in, you know, me painting one shape, putting one curve down, and then seeing that it just throws off the whole picture. And then I'll end up going over it and going back and going for a walk and coming back. So it's a lot of chopping and changing that happens, but it's all in the flow. I like to say in this rhythm, there are ebbs and there are flows. So painting for me is definitely a process that I have to surrender to. I get to say what it is that I want to paint or how I want to paint it, but ultimately it's also going to tell me what the story is. You can see I'm still going along here, still going back, adding back in, adding light, adding shadow, and really building out the dimensions of the image. And I feel like it's sometimes, for me, I sometimes look at a picture and I think, oh, maybe more could have been done with that. But when I then look at the primary reference photo that I'm looking at, it really depends on the quality of the photo sometimes, and it depends on not just that, but also what the actual painted image is saying. Because sometimes I might think, oh, I could have tweaked that a little bit, but I'm overall looking at the image now and I'm thinking it's actually saying what it needs to say. It looks how it needs to look, even if I feel like I could add more detail there or take something away. So that's probably also a point at which I feel I allow myself to relax, because it's easy to become, well, it's easy for my perfectionist tendencies to manifest when I'm painting. So I even challenge myself as I go along to allow leeway and allow it to flow in the way that it wants to. And in saying all of that, it really reminds me this is a process of co-creation, because as much as I am the one holding the paintbrush and dabbling in the paint, I'm not just working on the canvas, I'm working with it. So if you look now, you can see that the hands are, to me, they're talking because I've put down all the flesh tones, they're filled in. The colours that I put down initially were just the undertones to give some layers to the paintings, just keeping it simple. Red, yellow, blue, the primary colours to build the foundations and set the first layer out. So that's kind of why I do it. There are a lot of points as well where I go back in to tweak the shadows and change tiny shapes, because I mentioned before that one thing being off can just throw off the whole image and I can't unsee it. So I spent a lot of time doing that and using smaller brushes to do that. I just wanted to talk you through the process a little bit, because this is a 14-minute video and I feel like some context is great when compiling all of the shots together. This right here is beautiful because you can see the completed hands next to the ones that aren't completed, and maybe you can see what I'm looking at here, and the contrast that I mentioned being that the primary colors are very stark and then boom, suddenly you add a little bit of white, you add a little bit of yellow, and it warms everything up and creates a kind of demarcation. Well, I feel like the black paint creates demarcation. Everyone's process is unique, and I feel like there's a lot to pick up from the way that people paint and the way that people draw, and even the way that we assemble imagery, because this right here is a collection of images that I took myself. I love fruit, so I was literally eating a lot of fruit, I was eating a lot of greens, I was gardening, I was doing my thing, and I just noticed the beauty in everything. So if I see a moment where I want to capture something, I'll just take a picture and then it'll be in my camera roll, and then I have a whole bunch of reference images that I can come back to because I plucked that moment from my daily life and I decided to save it. I think that's the beauty also of having technology and using it to bring us back to the present moment. So for me, that process involved compiling my images and creating a new image that really speaks to what I want my focus and my attention to be on, which is abundance. Foods are abundance. Sharing is abundance. Having multiple hands in this image is also a representation of what we all bring to the collective, what we all bring to the table. So that is a little bit on why I'm even painting this. These are my innermost thoughts. Hope you're enjoying. I'm going to allow you to just enjoy the rest of the video, take in what you see, and see if you learn anything from it beyond what I've said. See if you receive anything more. And feel free to share comments below. I would love to hear from you. I would also like to note that this piece is available in the form of prints. I have some lovely, beautiful prints on my website, which is linked in the description. They're printed on this gorgeous, gorgeous, eco-friendly, plant-based paper with sustainable inks. Everything is mindfully printed. They're available to order in different sizes, so you can get a print ranging from A5 and A2. And I also have tote bags with prints available on them, so if you like a tote bag, you can get them in 2 different sizes. There's a regular size tote bag and a bag for lifestyle shopping tote bag. 5% of purchase orders have been being donated to Mutual Aim to help families that are being affected by conflict. More information on that is available online on my website and on social media, so if you want to have a read and just find out more, please do. Thank you for your support and share with friends and family. Okay, enjoy the video. Bye.